Andrea, it's so good to see you.
Nice to see you again too.
So I just want to talk to you a little bit about where you're from, like the street that you grew up on and kind of what it means to you. Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in New York in this small town in Hempstead
Oh, wow.
on Wright Avenue.
Right Avenue, not wrong
Right,
Avenue.
yeah, like
Right
right or
Avenue.
wrong. Right or wrong with a W.
And what was your street like?
I had a best friend who lived across the street
Mm.
and a best friend who lived next door.
Are you still friends
I
with
lived in
them?
one. I
Mm.
am, yeah. I grew up in one home, with my younger brother and my younger sister till I was 14, and then
Mm.
we moved to South Florida. That move really marked a lot of my life and my experience because it was so different when I moved to South Florida.
Tell me what changed for you from that first street you grew up on to
Yeah,
the move?
my parents had lost their small business, and we lived in, I think, in the next 3 years, lived in over 6 places.
Wow.
I went from being in a school district that was 50% white and 50% African American, and being one of the few Latino families, to being in a school district that was maybe 60% white and 40% Latino. And just like a lot of racial tension, like a part of South Florida where people still fly Confederate flags and talk about the KKK. And it was definitely, I think, a real culture shock for me.
Wow, that's so interesting because, like, in the street that I grew up on in the Bronx, because we had a dishwasher, I was like, we are the Jeffersons. Like, we have it all. We are super rich. And then I went to this middle school on the Upper East Side of Manhattan where people were like, landing on helipads at their weekend homes. And I was like, oh, it was that culture shock that almost
Right.
feels like it was the opposite culture shock for you. Like, suddenly you had an awareness of what could be, and then you were faced with more attention or challenges than you had before. How do you think that informed your advocacy work?
Well, I think I did start my organizing around immigrant rights. And so when my grandmother came to this country, she worked as a nanny and a domestic worker.
Mine
Um,
too.
yeah, I started working around justice for janitors, and then I guess I was in my 20s when I co-founded the National Domestic Workers Alliance.
Wow. So tell me a little bit more about Florida Rising and the incredible advocacy work that you're doing. What does that look like?
So our organization is committed to advancing democracy and racial equity, and we're out there every day registering people to vote, organizing people's assemblies so communities can come together and talk about like what's going on in their neighborhood and what kind of changes they want to see for their children and grandchildren. And I think we're just determined to see a different kind of Florida where all of us are treated with dignity and with respect.
Amen. Oh, I love that. It's such a beautiful through line to your life's journey, really, around, the idea that we all matter, no matter what. We all matter. Our voices. Anyway, thank you. Thank you. That was
Thank you.
perfect.